perhaps a tiger, in him. In order to recall, suggest, and fix the walk of an animal, I began a whole new set of exercises. Many of these movements I felt to be in a high degree successful. I had worked almost 5 hours without noticing the passage of time. To me, this seemed to show that my inspiration was real. 2. I awoke much later than usual, rushed into my clothes and dashed to the theatre. As I went into the rehearsal room where they were waiting for me, I was so embarrassed that instead of apology, I made the careless remark, "I seem to be a little late." Rachmaninoff, the assistant director, looked at me a long time reproachfully, and finally said, "We have been sitting here waiting, our nerves on edge, angry, and it seems I am a little late. We all came here full of enthusiasm for the work waiting to be done, and now, thanks to you, that mood has been destroyed. To arouse a desire to create is difficult. To kill that desire is extremely easy. If I interfere with my own work, it is my own affair, but what right have I to hold up the work of a whole group? The actor, no less than the soldier, must be subject to iron discipline." For this first offence, Rachmaninoff said he would limit himself to a reprimand, and not enter it on the written record kept of students, but that I must apologize immediately to all, and make it a rule in the future to appear at rehearsals a quarter of an hour before they begin. Even after my apology, Rachmaninoff was unwilling to go on, because, he said, the first rehearsal is an event in an artist's life, and he should retain the best possible impression of it. Today's rehearsal was spoiled by my carelessness. Let us hope that tomorrow's will be memorable. This evening I intended to go to bed early because I was afraid to work on my role. But my eye fell on a cake of chocolate. I melted it with some butter and obtained a brown mess. It was easy to smear it onto my face and make myself into a Moor. As I sat in front of my mirror, I admired at length the flash of my teeth. I learned how to show them off and how to turn my eyes until the white showed. In order to make the most of my makeup, I had to put on my costume, and once I was dressed, I wanted to act. But I didn't invent anything new. I merely repeated what I had done yesterday, and now it seemed to have lost its point. However, I did think I had gained something in my idea of how Othello ought to look. 3. Today was our first rehearsal. I arrived long ahead of time. The assistant director suggested that we plan our own scenes and arrange the properties. Fortunately, Paul agreed to everything I proposed, as only the inner aspects of Iago interest him. For me, the externals were of greatest importance. They must remind me of my own room. Without this setting, I could not get back my inspiration. Yet, no matter how I struggled to make myself believe I was in my own room, all my efforts did not convince me. They merely interfered with my acting. Paul already knew the whole of his role by heart, but I had to read my lines out of the book, or else to get by with approximations. To my astonishment, the words did not help me. In fact, they bothered me, so that I should have preferred to do without them entirely, or to cut the number in half. Not only the words, but also the thoughts of the poet were foreign to me. Even the action as outlined tended to take away from me that freedom which I had felt in my own room. Worse than that, I didn't recognize my own voice. Besides, neither the setting nor the plan which I had fixed during my work at home would harmonize with the playing of Paul. For example, how could I introduce into a comparatively quiet scene between Othello and Iago those flashes with my teeth, rollings of my eyes, which were to get me into my part? Yet I could not break away from my fixed ideas of how to act the nature I conceived of as savage, nor even from the setting I had prepared. Perhaps the reason was that I had nothing to put in its place. I had read the text of the role by